Lost books of the Bible. Why were they removed? Dark clouds loomed over the ancient city of Alexandria, where the scent of burning parchment filled the air. A hooded figure moved swiftly through the narrow alleyways, clutching a bundle of scrolls to his chest. His breath was heavy, his heartbeat a drum of fear. He knew that if he was caught, these sacred writings would be lost forever. Long ago, there were powerful books written alongside the scriptures we now call the Bible. Some spoke of creation in ways never heard before. Others told of Jesus' childhood, revealing mysteries hidden for centuries. But something happened, something that changed history forever. A secret meeting was held. Powerful men gathered behind closed doors, their faces illuminated only by the flickering glow of oil lamps. On the table before them lay a collection of sacred texts, some familiar, others forbidden. These writings contradict the teachings we uphold, one of the elders whispered. They reveal too much, another murmured. Silence filled the room. The decision was made. One by one, the books were removed. Some were destroyed. Others were hidden so well that their existence became nothing more than whispers in the wind. But not all the books vanished. Some survived, buried in the sands of time, waiting to be discovered. Meanwhile, in the year 1945, in the dry deserts of Egypt, a farmer's shovel struck something solid. He knelt, brushing away the dust, revealing a clay jar. His hands trembled as he pried it open. Inside, he found scrolls ancient, delicate, yet perfectly preserved. He had no idea that he had just unearthed one of the greatest mysteries of the Bible. Why were these books hidden? What secrets do they hold? And who decided which books belonged in the Bible and which ones were cast aside? The truth is far more shocking than you think.
The farmer's hands trembled as he lifted one of the scrolls. The parchment was fragile, its edges worn by time. As he unrolled it, strange symbols and faded letters stared back at him. He didn't know it yet, but he had just uncovered a secret that would shake the foundations of religious history. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, in the grand halls of Vatican City, a historian sat hunched over a massive wooden desk, flipping through ancient documents. His candle flickered as his eyes scanned the forbidden texts. He whispered the names softly, almost as if afraid someone might hear. The Gospel of Thomas. The Book of Enoch. The Acts of Paul and Thecla. These were not mere stories. These were books that once stood alongside the scriptures we know today. But they had been erased, condemned, locked away in the shadows of history. But why? To answer that, we must go back to the early centuries, when the Christian world was divided. Different groups fought over what was truth and what was heresy. Some believed Jesus was divine from birth, while others claimed he became divine later. Some texts described heaven and hell in ways never heard before. Others spoke of fallen angels, of forbidden knowledge, of secrets too dangerous to be told. In the year 325 AD, a council was called in the city of Nicaea, a meeting that would decide the fate of the Bible itself. Under the order of Emperor Constantine, religious leaders gathered to determine which books would remain, and which would be cast aside. The debates were fierce. Some bishops argued that the Book of Enoch revealed too much about the supernatural world, about angels who abandoned their divine posts. Others claimed the Gospel of Mary suggested something unthinkable, that Jesus may have trusted a woman more than his own disciples. Decisions were made. Pages were torn. And one by one, these books vanished from history, or so they thought. Back in Egypt, the farmer didn't realize the danger he was in. The moment he uncovered those scrolls, he had unknowingly stepped into a battle that had been raging for centuries. Eyes were watching. Shadows moved in the distance. And soon, he would have to make a choice, hide the truth, or risk everything to reveal it. But why were these books really removed? Who made these decisions? And what secrets do they reveal that some never wanted the world to know? The wind howled through the desert night as the farmer clutched the ancient scrolls to his chest. His heart pounded. He had heard rumors, stories of men who had found strange writings only to disappear without a trace. He turned to leave, but in the distance, torchlights flickered. Someone was coming, and they knew what he had found. Meanwhile, across the world, scholars and historians debated over a burning question: why were these books removed? Many believed it was about faith. Others suspected it was about power. But the real answer might be something far more sinister. The battle for the Bible. Long ago, Christianity wasn't a single, united belief system. Different groups, some calling themselves Gnostics, others following apostolic traditions, had different versions of the truth. Some believed Jesus' teachings were meant to free the soul from the physical world. Others believed in a structured faith, with laws and authority. And then, there was Rome. By the 4th century, Christianity had spread like wildfire, but it was fractured. Disagreements raged over who Jesus truly was and what should be considered scripture. The Roman Empire, under Emperor Constantine, saw this division as a threat. A decision had to be made. At the Council of Nicaea, 325 AD, powerful men gathered to decide the future of the faith. Some books were declared divine truth, while others were labeled dangerous, misleading, or outright blasphemous. Among the rejected books were the Gospel of Thomas, a mysterious text filled with hidden teachings of Jesus, some suggesting that enlightenment came from within rather than through the church. The Book of Enoch, a shocking account of fallen angels who took human wives, creating a race of giants called the Nephilim. It revealed a supernatural war that many thought was too dangerous for the public to know. The Gospel of Mary, a text that suggested Jesus had deep conversations with Mary Magdalene, possibly making her one of his most trusted followers, a claim that challenged the authority of male disciples. The Acts of Paul and Thecla, a book that spoke of a woman who defied traditions, preached the gospel, and even survived execution attempts, contradicting the church's stance on women's roles. Some of these books were burned. Others were hidden away, buried in secret places by those who believed the truth should not be silenced. But the battle was not over. The hidden war. Back in Egypt, the farmer's grip tightened on the scrolls as shadows moved closer. He knew he couldn't keep them. He had to hide them, fast. He rushed into the darkness, searching for a place where no one would ever find them. But little did he know, he was being watched. For centuries, whispers of the lost books persisted. Some claimed the Vatican held secret archives containing these forbidden texts. Others believed that powerful groups had ensured they would never be read again. But despite every attempt to erase them, they kept resurfacing. In 1945, the Nag Hammadi Library was discovered, an ancient collection of Gnostic writings hidden in a cave in Egypt. In 1947, the Dead Sea Scrolls were found, manuscripts that revealed a deeper history of Jewish and early Christian beliefs. Even today, new fragments continue to emerge, hinting that there is still more to be uncovered. But why were these books so dangerous? What secrets did they reveal that threatened the foundations of faith and power? And most importantly, have all the lost books truly been found, or are there still more hidden in the shadows, waiting to change history once again? The night was silent, but the farmer's breathing was loud in his ears. He crouched behind a crumbling wall, gripping the scrolls. Footsteps crunched against the sand. The men searching for him were getting closer. He had no choice, he had to hide the scrolls. But where? His eyes darted toward a narrow crevice in the rocks. He scrambled toward it, his heart pounding. The forbidden truth. For centuries, the world believed the Bible was complete, its books chosen through divine guidance. But the discovery of the Nag Hammadi Library and the Dead Sea Scrolls changed everything. These hidden texts spoke of things long erased from history, ideas that could shake the foundations of faith itself. Among these lost writings were books that revealed shocking possibilities, the Gospel of Judas, a text that suggested Judas was not a traitor, but Jesus' most trusted disciple, chosen to help fulfill his destiny. The Infancy Gospel of Thomas, a book that told stories of Jesus as a child, showcasing his supernatural power in ways that some found disturbing. The Apocalypse of Peter, a vision of the afterlife that described heaven and hell in vivid detail, different from what was later taught in Christian doctrine. These books were dangerous not because they were false, but because they challenged the carefully crafted narrative that had been established by the early church. They suggested alternative views of Jesus, the afterlife, and salvation, views that some believed were too radical for the masses. Secrets hidden beneath Vatican walls? Rumors have persisted for centuries that the Vatican's secret archives hold countless lost texts, writings that could rewrite biblical history. Some claim these archives contain unedited versions of biblical books with passages removed or altered. Prophecies that were never made public. Evidence of early Christian sects that had different beliefs from what we now know. But why would the Church keep such secrets locked away? Some say it is to protect the faithful from confusion. Others believe it is about power, controlling what people know and shaping history to fit a particular narrative. Yet, despite all attempts to bury the truth, the lost books keep resurfacing. The hidden war continues. Each of these books was banned, hidden, or destroyed, but why? What is the Vatican hiding? Even after these lost books were found, many believe the greatest secrets remain locked away, deep within the Vatican's secret archives. Some say the Vatican possesses ancient documents that reveal Jesus' true teachings. Unedited versions of the Gospels, with passages that were removed. Evidence of early Christian sects that had different beliefs from modern Christianity. But if this is true, why keep them hidden? Is it to protect faith? Or to protect power? The mystery is not over. Back in Egypt, the farmer knew he could never return for the scrolls. His fate was sealed. But he had done what he needed to do. He had ensured that, one day, the truth would come to light. Thousands of years later, people are still searching for the final pieces of the puzzle. Are there still lost books waiting to be discovered? And the biggest question of all, if the lost books were finally revealed, would the world be ready for the truth?